slides. It's not here. It's not this one. Yeah, here it is. Dear Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, it's a pleasure for me to participate at this GCC forum and to contribute to a better understanding between the Gulf states and Switzerland. As we say in French, you have l'or noir, you have the black gold, and we have in Switzerland l'or blanc, the white gold, I mean hydropower. Energy and natural gas will be in the center of my contribution to this forum. My presentation consists on a short outlook in the natural gas resources and production, to talk a little bit about European gas markets and LNG trade, which is really important also in the GCC countries, the Swiss energy market, and some ideas about what we do in Switzerland in technology and research and development, also some projects which could be interesting for the Gulf countries. First, about gas resources. As Ivan mentioned, there are big natural gas resources worldwide, reaching approximately 60 years, I mean conventional gas resources, when we take into account the current world production. Approximately 72% of these proven reserves are located in the CIS and the Middle East countries. Notably, Iran and Qatar have the second and third largest natural gas conventional reserves worldwide. What we can say also globally, the natural gas production increased much faster than the oil production in the last 50 years by a factor of 7.5 compared to 3.7 for oil, as you see on the figure. What we have to look closer is what's happening in the unconventional gas resources. When we take into account these resources, the worldwide proven reserves could double and at least go up to 250 years of reserves if we will take into account all possible recoverable resources. And that has to be followed quite close by the Gulf countries, because it could also have an impact on the export of the Gulf countries. Interesting shale and tight gas resources are existing, especially in China, in Australia, in North and South America. In Switzerland, we estimate that the potential of unconventional gas, mainly shale and tight gas resources, are between 200 and 400 BCM in our ground, but it's not exploited nowadays. Unconventional gas is also a game changer. The discovery of these new resources, especially in North America, has created a big change in the world gas trade. The prices, as you see on the figure, and the US spot markets dropped down compared to the European prices in blue or Asian LNG prices, as you see in orange. It affected directly the LNG trades in the North Atlantic basin. Now some words about the natural gas market in Europe and the demand. EU natural gas consumption dropped down by 2.4% in 2012 compared to 2011, reaching a level of 465 BCM, close to the level of the end of the 90s. England, Holland, Italy, and Spain are the most affected countries in Europe due to the economic crisis and the turndown of gas power plants due to a negative spark spread. What's interesting to know is that coal is coming now from the US to Europe, and we use, again, old thermal power plants. The situation in Switzerland is completely different, thank God, with an increase of 9.6%, because of our strong economy, and we had also cold winter, I have to say, and we have only some small gas power plants. But the needs in Europe will also increase in the next year, probably by an additional gas volume of 211 BCM, because we expected now a decline of the North Sea production, and we need some more gas in the future, especially for power production and in the transportation field for natural gas as fuel for the road transport. When we look at the LNG markets, as I said before, the LNG trades were strongly affected with the development of unconventional gas production in North America. So trades moved to Asia. So LNG imports in Europe are reaching approximately today about 80 BCM, coming mainly from Qatar, 41%, Algeria, 22%, and Nigeria, 18%. In brief, what we can say now as an outlook in the natural gas markets, the rise of natural gas demand will mainly occur in Asia, Middle East, and Latin America. LNG trades will double by 2030. New gas sources will be connected to the markets, also unconventionals, even probably in Europe. Europe will face a decrease of the North Sea production, and when environmental policies will be probably strengthened, also in favor of natural gas, we hope. European economic crisis will not end so fast, and the markets will remain very fluid with natural gas. Now some words about what is the situation in Switzerland. First, about the energy. Oil still represents more than 50% of the final energy consumption in Switzerland, followed by electricity, mainly nuclear and hydropower, and natural gas is the third most important energy vector, representing 13% of the total energy consumption in our country, so that you can see on the figure in yellow. Now the government introduced a new proposition for a new strategy about the Fukushima nuclear disaster. This strategy is in 4 points. First, to improve energy efficiency, to develop hydropower, about plus 10 terawatt hours until 2050, to develop also, it's clear, renewables, mainly solar and wind energy, about 22 terawatt hours more until 2050, and at least, if necessary, to develop gas power plants. We mean mainly cogeneration or CCGTs. As you can see on our portfolio in Switzerland with the imports of natural gas and what is sold in Switzerland, natural gas is mainly coming from EU countries, 43%, and from Norway, 21%. 22% is from Russian provenance, and 14% from diverse sources, including LNG imports, also from the Gulf region. It accounts for, with our calculation, about 2 to 3%, mainly from Qatar. Now, to finish, some ideas about some projects we have now. It could be also be interesting for the Gulf countries, and we can perhaps also contribute to develop some close relation in this field. My company, GasNat, also with a subsidiary of the exploration company Petrus Vibri, sponsored a natural gas chair at the Swiss Federal Institute of Technology, EPFL, in Lausanne. A carbon dioxide storage and fixation research center will be created, which aims to gain comprehensive knowledge in the field of CO2 storage processes and fixation technologies. I think that's important for the future too. As we did in Switzerland, we made some research what we can do eventually with pilot projects for CO2 sequestration. We have quite a big potential. You can see on this figure in green. We have a potential about 200 2,600 million tons of CO2 we could eventually store underground in our country. So that's why we would like also to start some pilot projects in Switzerland for CO2 sequestration. Another interesting project we just started, also with a German utility, is to test a new concept to produce CO2 neutral gas. With the excess of wind and solar energy we have in Europe, a pilot project will produce hydrogen. This hydrogen could, for example, be directly injected in high-pressure gas grid or transformed with use of CO2 again in a syngas, which could be also stored in the natural gas network. And during peak hours, we could, for example, produce electricity again through CCGTs or CHP installations. I think that's two interesting projects. We could perhaps develop also some cooperation with the Gulf countries.